Behind me is my dream sim racing setup I built in this video, and I'm gonna go over 3 things about it: building it, reviewing it, and test driving it. So with that out of the way, let's get straight to the video. I introduced the GT Pro. This is the foldable cockpit from Next Level Racing, but I'm pretty surprised overall. It's very comfortable due to the extra bolstering and mesh cushions that you sit on, but not only that, it's very sturdy and rigid, but most importantly, it has lots of flexibility and adjustments for what you need it to be. But now that we got it all set up, we need to talk about the wheels, pedals, and shifter. So I went with the Logitech G920 along with their shifter. You can snag one of these for around $350 to $400 depending if it's on sale or not. I ended up getting the wheels and pedals by a friend and bought the shifter myself. This one in particular is compatible with the Xbox One and not the PlayStation. But now that we have the wheels and pedals unwrapped and unboxed, I think it's time to go over them a little bit more. The pedals and wheels looked very nice and felt high quality for the price you're paying. My only complaint is the size of the wheel, but it did feel nice to hold in my hands. You do have a whole bunch of programmable buttons, and the pedal shifters felt very tactile and nice. The pedals felt very good too. The clutch wasn't too soft or too stiff. The brake was a little bit stiff more than I would like, and the gas pedal was just right. Mounting the wheel was pretty straightforward. You can either use the twist tabs in the wheel itself, or you can use the supply hardware of the cockpit to screw it in from the bottom, which I decided to screw it in from the bottom to add extra rigidity. Same steps for mounting the pedals as well. Comes with 4 supplied screws to get them all in. A little bit tedious, but only took around a minute or so. Mounting the shifter, this on its own has some complications. As you can see, on the bottom of the shifter there's a twist tab that's meant for desk. This interferes with the mounting bracket, so it needs to be removed. There's 4 screws that hold it into place. On the actual mounting bracket itself, you can see there's 4 nuts that are holding it in place. Those need to be taken off so the shifter can actually be mounted properly. Once you get both of those steps done, the shifter should mount with ease. You can either use the twist tabs on the shifter itself to tighten it down, or you can use the screws that are supplied at the cockpit itself. Now with the shifter on, it's really starting to look like a racing sim at this point, and I cannot be any more pleased. I ended up sitting in it and adjusting things as needed, and making sure everything's where I want it to be, which is a pretty important part. Now with the sim being dialed in, we need to talk about the monitor and the monitor stand. I decided to go with the Next Level Racing monitor stand. It was very well priced, around $100 even. In the box, it comes with all the hardware you need to assemble it. Now assembling it was a little bit tricky as well. Not everything wanted to line up as it should have. The screws that were supplied with it kept fighting me and not wanting to line up at all. I ended up having to use a rubber mallet to kind of force things in place, which did fix the issue and screws started aligning after that. But after all the struggle, I ended up finally getting it assembled. The monitor I chose was the MSI Pro MP341, decently sized at 34 inches and displays at 100 Hz, and it was very well priced at only $230. It's base mountable, which is what I wanted. All the screws lined up as they should, and getting it onto the actual monitor stand was pretty much a breeze. It's looking very nice in that monitor stand, and I have to admit, I did not expect it to actually be this big. I've never actually seen a 34-inch monitor in person before. Alright, now it's time for me to stop googly eyeing over the monitor and talk about what's going to be powering the racing sim. Powering the sim is actually a laptop. There's a variety of reasons why I went with one, but I'll explain it a little bit later and go over the specs of it first. It's a MSI Thin A15. It's rocking an RTX 4050 with an AMD Ryzen 7 77035HS. It has 16 gigs of DDR5 at 3200 megatransfers. As for storage, it has a 512 gig NVMe and other fancy stuff, but I mainly went over the important things. Now I'm starting to wrap things up here, hooking up the monitor to the laptop, making sure cables are nice and neat and tidy, and then lastly I adjust the racing sim and push it a little bit more forward where it should be. And with that, the racing sim is all set up. So let's see what a couple hours of work really looks like. After getting it all built, I'm finally using it, and I am extremely pleased and happy with how all this turned out. And the first game of choice was Assetto Corsa. Pretty simple and basic one to start out with. The shifter, pedals, and wheel feel super nice. Setting it up wasn't that hard. It didn't want to work at first. You do have to manually set up all the controls and the settings for the controls itself. So on Assetto Corsa, everything is inverted, so maybe 10 minutes of finagling and watching some YouTube videos. I got all the controls and settings out in for how I wanted it to feel, everything with the force feedback, the clutch pedal, all of that. And it works really good, it handles very good, which I like. I am extremely pleased with how it turned out, and I've been enjoying it. And actually, I've been using it off camera before even filming some of this, so I probably had a couple sessions before even recording just to get the feel of it, and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. One thing I want to get into is, like I said, is why did I go with a laptop? Well, there's a few reasons for that. So my desk is inverted, basically, so my actual desktop is on the left side of where the sim is at, and my pretty much open space for my desk is on the right side, plus all my USB ports on my actual desktop were taken up, so I couldn't really use them. I could have swapped everything around if I really wanted to, but it just felt like too much of a hassle, and I felt like laptop was a much better choice. The only really downside of laptop is upgradability, and then obviously cooling, because laptops get very, very hot. As you can see too, underneath the actual, or underneath the laptop is a cooling pad, and it works very, very good and is much needed if you are going to do something like this. But the laptop handles all the games I've played, every single sim racing game or car game, just fine. I've had no issues, no lag spikes, and I've had over 100 FPS in most games. I guess before we end off the video, was it worth building this? And I'm gonna say absolutely. I've always wanted a racing sim since I was probably 12, 13. My first experience on one was one at a local go-kart track near me that had an indoor sim racing setup, and I fell in love with them. You know, it's also a good way to be able to drive, you know, without being reckless, actually driving your car, which is something I kind of do sometimes. But I recommend it. I believe that everyone who's into cars or wants to get into cars or in sim racing in general should start out with something like this. Like, you don't have to go all out and get a full rig. You can just do wheels, pedals, all that if you really want to. There's nothing wrong with doing it, and then you can progress your way up. But I think it was worth it, and I've been enjoying it, and I'm going to keep enjoying it. Anyways, I would love recommendations for any other car games you guys have, or any suggestions of what I should do with the sim, what I should upgrade, anything like that. Everything I bought for the sim will be linked down below, so if you want to build the exact same setup I have, you can. And with that, that's pretty much everything. So until next time, see you.